Hello, friend. Thanks for joining me for another book chat. Today, let's spend some time with Foundation's Edge by Isaac Asimov. This is book 4 in the Foundation series, originally published in 1982. I previously read the 3 books of the original trilogy and chatted them here on my channel, so I will link to those chats down below. But as I mentioned, this is book 4, but yet it was published in 1982, 29 years after book 3. And from what I understand, lucky for us, the readers who love getting immersed in the Foundation universe, my understanding is that the publisher convinced Isaac Asimov to continue this series out, and so he started writing on this series again in 1982 with this book, and then followed by several other books set in this universe. So yay. This book picks up not too long, though, after the events of book 3. So, yeah, this is going to be a spoiler-free chat. I'm not going to reveal anything that I think would detract a first-time reader's experience with either this particular book, Foundation's Edge, or the series thus far. So I will be careful with that. This book opens about 500 years from the events of the first book called Foundation, and readers may remember that the Foundation was established by Harry Seldon, who predicted the collapse of the then Galactic Empire, whose power was then sort of in a wane. Seldon's development of psychohistory predicted the collapse of this empire that was going to be followed by a dark age that was going to last tens of thousands of years. But the dark age could be significantly reduced by the establishment of the Foundation on a remote planet called Terminus. The Foundation was peopled with largely scientists of the material sciences, and then there was a second Foundation that was to remain hidden, that was populated by scientists with mental in sort of the mental knowledge. So the hidden second Foundation would contain the psychohistorians then that would keep sort of, I guess, history on track to keep this dark age sort of shortened and at bay. By the time we get here to book 4, there's been quite a few disruptions to the Seldon plan. But in this particular book, we find the mayor of Terminus at this time is a woman whose name is Harla Brana. And she's currently basking in the public limelight because she's recently had a successful resolution of a Seldon crisis. So as just a reminder for those who aren't familiar with the Seldon crisis, a Seldon crisis is one of these events that happen periodically in history. It's kind of like a turning point in history where the right decision can keep us on a path sort of continued progress, and the wrong decision can cause a regression. So she's had a success recently, so she's got a lot of political capital. Well, in walks this sort of disrupting guy whose name is Golan Trevize, and he publicly challenges the mayor and sort of calls her out by calling into question whether or not the Seldon plan actually even continues to exist, and also whether or not the second Foundation, actually still exists. The conventional wisdom at this point in the series is that the second Foundation does no longer exist, but he argues that it must. So the mayor uses up some of her political capital, and she has some sort of extra governmental activities that she does. Ultimately, she expels Trevize, though, from Terminus, from the planet, with instructions to go find the second Foundation then, if he believes in it so much. And then she sends along with him a professor of antiquities and mythology, a man named Janov Pellerad. So Pellerad studies and is interested in locating the mythological planet where humanity originated. He understands that the galaxy has been colonized by humans at this point. Thousands, I think millions of worlds at this point have been colonized, and humanity has sort of lost track of what its origins were. And he's sort of done this research where he figures out that it's this mythical planet called Earth, but nobody knows where this is. We have to remember that in this point in the Foundation, we are tens of thousands of years into the future from our present day, as humanity has, it's been already tens of thousands of years that humanity has colonized basically the known galaxy. So he and Pellerat set out in this really the most technologically advanced ship of the Foundation. The control panel of the ship, this ship was actually pretty cool. And one of the fun things about this part of the book, the control panel of the ship reminds me of the one that's in the last season, like season 4 of Star Trek Discovery, where you put your hands on the control panel here, and your hands sort of sink into the control panel, and there's sort of a direct neural link then with the ship, and that's the control panel that we have on this in this book, and I thought that was really cool. There's a quote here that says, "He placed his hands on the outlines of the desk, which were positioned for him to do so without strain. The desktop seemed soft, nearly velvety, where he touched it, and his hands sank in." I think that was so cool because it's, like I said, it's sort of visualized then in the recent Star Trek Discovery season. So that was pretty fun. Anyway, when he's engaged with the ship's computer, the ship can not only sense what his commands are, but he can sort of have the sense of the ship's sensory system as well. So he can sense, like if he's by a planet, he can sense the nearby condition of the upper atmosphere of a nearby planet if the ship can. So this sort of technology is what the Foundation is really known for. At this point in the story, they are very technologically advanced and becoming more so all the time, which alarms the Second Foundation. So the Second Foundation exists in secret from the First Foundation. We, the reader, though, know that it exists. So it's not really a spoiler to know that. I don't think that the Second Foundation exists. So the Second Foundation is aware that Trevise and Pellerat have left Terminus, and they have a vague idea of what they're after, although they don't necessarily act as planned. I'll just say that. But the Second Foundation has sort of their own version of a dissident going on. It's a man named Grindabal, and he's a young speaker who is in sort of the government of the Second Foundation. They have a sort of loose structured government, and although they're an egalitarian, pretty much egalitarian society among themselves, they don't necessarily treat others in an egalitarian way. But Grindabal sets out from the Second Foundation then to follow Pellerat and Trevise. And he takes along with him this peasant woman who has a really clean mind along with him, so that he can tell mental interference, because he has suspicions that something's going on with mental control that supposedly only the Second Foundation can do. So that sort of sets the stage for the book. It leaves us with, like, what clues are there to the existence of this planet called Earth? Was it called Earth, or was it called something else? And he has several different clues about that. And where would it be, and should they try to find their way there? And are they able to try to find their way there? And then, another question is there this third force now controlling events that we're not aware of, the reader's not aware of, and neither is the Foundation or the Second Foundation? And is the Selden plan still on track, or even if it's still relevant, is a big question that is sort of asked and explored in this book. So a lot of fun here uncovering the answers to those questions. Another, I think, sort of theme I took away from the book was intelligent systems versus those that are fragmented. And by intelligent systems, it can mean like a whole planet or a whole system making a decision, as opposed to an individual or a fragmented individual, like a single government or a single person would be more of a fragmented system, whereas an integrated system or intelligent system at large would be making a bigger decision. So as the way that psychohistory works is that the micro decisions that an individual makes, it cannot predict, but it can predict these intelligent systems. These big macro systems have a certain intelligence that that psychohistorians can then predict, if that makes sense. So to me, that's really interesting to think about. Okay, I think I'll stop the chat there. You know, I'm not a fan of Asimov's writing style, but I'm a huge fan of the Foundation universe that he created. So I will continue reading this series. I do expect to get to book 5 here this year yet, and maybe more. So there will be more of this series coming up in the future. However, my next chat is going to be Panpsychism in the West by David Skrbina. This is a work of nonfiction philosophy, and I have finished it already, so I will have a chat on this coming up soon. Until next time, take care.